Hey there everyone, welcome back to our Git and GitHub playlist. Today we are diving into an essential part of Git workflow, which is branching and merging. Whether you are working on solo projects or collaborating with a team, mastering this skill is crucial. So let's get started. First, let's talk about what branches are. A branch in Git is essentially a pointer to a snapshot of your changes. The default branch name in Git is main. Sometimes you will see it as master, but you can create as many branches as you want to isolate your work. This is especially useful for developing features, fixing bugs, or experimenting with new ideas. Now, when we in general work with Git, the default branch name that you will see is master or sometimes main, but ideally the main concept is always the similar. Now, when we commit changes to our Git repository, this master or main branch, which is nothing but a pointer to that particular commit, shows where our changes are at the moment. So when we make more commit, then that master pointer get moved. So by doing so, we always stay and work in the same branch, which is main or master. Now, when we have more features, more team members working on one single project, then there might be an issue that how multiple people will collaborate. Or let's imagine that when we talk about production, mainly we use the main branch as our production branch. So whatever information or whatever features we will have in our main branch, all those will go into the production. So if we are saying that our product is a website, that means anything that we will have in the main branch will go into that website and our user will see that. Now if we have to add a new features on that particular branch, we cannot stop our production, we cannot stop that product, right? Because when we will try to add new features for a moment, we might have to stop that production, and the user might not be able to see that website and utilize the facilities of it. So we don't want that, right? Instead, what we can do is that we can create a new branch. Let's say it called dev branch. Now it can be based on multiple features. I don't know, any new features that you will be adding in that product. So you can create multiple branches, and then what you will do is that that branch will have a copy of the changes from the master branch at that point when you make that new branch, and then from that point you will be working on that new branch that you have created, and your main branch will totally be isolated. Now once you do some commit, once you have tested the changes, the features, then what you can do is that you can merge those changes from the dev branch or the feature branches into your main branch. Now what this will do is that as you have kept your main branch isolated, the user will be able to use the product, and once you have merged those changes from other branches into your main branch, your user will be able to see those new features as well. So in this way you are not interrupting. Also, when multiple people are working on the same project, you want to ensure that um, each of them works on a particular feature without interrupting the code that other person is writing, right? So in that way, if you want to test your own code as well, or own task as well, that whether it's working properly or not, you can do it in your own side, so you're not interrupting what other people are doing or what we have in the main branch. So that's why Git branching is very, very important. So yeah, here it is again. So once we commit it, that changes of other branches become part of the master branch or the main branch. So I hope you have understood the basic concept of it. So let's now have a look at how we can do in practice. So here in my GitHub profile, what I have done is I have created a GitHub repository called Git Practice, and I have cloned this repository into my local directory. So what I have done is I have copied this HTTPS URL, and then I have went to my VS Code IDE, and then I have clicked on terminal and then a new terminal, and then I have clicked on this arrow sign and selected this git bash to use the bash terminal, and then I used git clone and then pasted that URL over here. So once I have done that, it opened that repository in my local environment. So now over here I have these readme.md file, and I have made some changes. So I have, for example, written some code and so on. So I will say that this is the main branch. As you can see over here as well, that this is actually the main branch. And first of all, to know the available branches in the repository, we can type git branch, and it will list all the branches that we have. So currently we have only one branch, which is called main, and the branch that you will be Git will add this asterisk in front of that. So if we change to another branch, you will see that this asterisk is moving to that particular branch. So first of all, to create a new branch, what we need to do is use the command called git branch. So we will type git branch and the name of the branch that we want to create. So we will say that the branch we want to create named deb. So I have typed git branch deb and press enter. Now we have created a new branch, and we can also check the new branch as well by using git branch, and you can see that now we have two branches, one is main, one is deb. So what we want to do is that we want to switch into that deb branch and make some changes on that. So to change or to switch to this new branch, we need to use the command called git checkout and then the branch that we want to move to. So git checkout deb, and if we press enter, it will take us to this new branch. And also in the newer version of git, you can use git switch. So git switch, you can use that command as well, but over here we will stick to git checkout command as of now. So git checkout and deb, then press enter. Now you can see that we have switched to this new branch called deb. Now let's do one thing. We will say that we have moved to deb branch, and then we will also create another file, let's say index.html, and over here we can actually write any code that we want. So I'm not going to write a lot of code. Let's say I am only written this bit of code over here. So Control S to save both of these files, and I will actually get rid of these lines as well. I wouldn't want it to be over here. So this is all the changes that we have made. So now what I will do, I will make a commit over here. So git commit -n and then a message. So changes in the deb branch. Press enter. So sorry, my bad, I forgot to stage all those information, so I need to stage all these information before I commit. So git add, and I could specify the file name like index.html and readme.md as well. but instead I will simply do git add dot, means every changes in the current directory. So I will do that and then use the commit again. So we can also check the git status. So we can see that nothing to commit, working tree is clean. Now we can do a simple git push. Okay, so as you can see that as this is the first time that we are trying to push all these changes to our remote repository, we need to set the upstream and to our remote origin, and we need to introduce this deb, the new branch, to our remote repository. So that's why we'll do git push data set upstream origin and the branch name. So you see these ID also gives you different information as well. When you make mistake, when you want to go into next step, you will see that it gives you different options that you can choose. Let's do that. Now this changes has been pushed to our remote repository. We can in fact go back to our remote repository. So we can see that there has been some changes. So what I will do is compare and pull request, and you know that it's only me working on this repository, so I can actually do a create pull request, and from here I can do a merge. So you see this is one of the way that you will be able to collaborate with multiple people. They can send you a pull request. They can send you a pull request when they want to merge some new features to your project where you are the admin, and then based on all those change, new configuration, you will be able to check their code, check those changes, and if you are happy with those, you can do a merge pull request. So you can then confirm that merge, and those new changes will be merged into the main branch. But when you are working on your own, you might not actually see this option. The reason I'm seeing it is that I didn't authenticate this particular user to my GitHub repository, and I hope that it makes sense, because when you first time try to do a git push, you get a pop-up saying that you need to authenticate your device to your GitHub profile, and if you don't do that, this is one of the options that you see. But if you have done that, I believe that you won't have to see this pull request option. So now if we go back to our code, as we have linked the new deb branch to our remote repository as well, so next time when we will try to push any changes to the remote repository, it will not ask us for the pull request. Okay, that's great. So now we are on our new branch. Any changes we make here will be totally isolated from our main branch until we are ready to merge them. The way we already have done that, we already have merged that that deb browser on the main branch using GitHub, but over here we are using not that GitHub, rather we are using Git to make the merges. So that's what we will do now. So we will make another changes. Let's say a new line added to deb branch. Control S to save. Now again I will do git add dot and then git commit -m, and the message would be a new line added. Press enter, and now we will also do a quick git push. So now these changes has been pushed. So it's time to do a merge. So now let's say our feature in the dev branch is complete and we want to merge these changes back into the main branch. So first we will switch back to the branch where we want to merge into, which is our main branch. So we want to merge the changes into our main branch. That's why we need to switch back. So the command that we will use to switch is called git switch and then main, or additionally we have seen that we can use the command called git checkout. So we'll use git checkout and then the branch name main. So git checkout main, press enter, and now we are in the main branch. So did you notice that all those changes that we had done in the dev branch is now gone? So we don't see any of those. So all these branches are totally isolated from each other. So we don't see any changes that we have made in one branch. We don't see it in the other any other branch, right? So we want to merge all those changes from our dev branch. Now what we'll do is we will use the command called git merge. So we will do git merge, and then we need to add the branch name that we want to merge in. So we want to merge the features from dev branch, so we need to specify git merge dev, and this will merge those changes into our main branch. So now see, all those are now part of our main branch. And also, as I was saying earlier, that we can check the git branch, and now you can see that we are back into our main branch. This is main branch. So in this way, git will try to automatically merge all the changes. If there are no conflicts, it will complete successfully. But if there are conflicting changes, if there are any code or any changes that you have in both of your branches, then git might generate some conflict, and git will identify some conflict, and git will notify you, and you will need to resolve all those changes of the conflicts manually. So I hope that it is clear now, and you will be able to create different branches. You will be able to merge changes, and in our future videos we will create another video on git merge conflict. And that's the basics of branching and merging in git. Remember, branches are a powerful way to manage different streams of work in your project, and merging allows you to bring it all together. Don't be afraid of experiment with branches. They are an essential part of a robust Git workflow. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get notified about our next video. So keep branching, keep merging, and happy coding.